The Portland Trail Blazers made the second most obvious pick of the 2023 NBA draft when they took Scoot Henderson third overall. Scoot was the number 2 player in this draft in my opinion. I don't think it was close, and I think he's a future cornerstone pretty easily. However, Portland is in a weird spot. Damian Lillard has been a franchise player for years now. He's coming off the best season of his NBA career, and the Blazers kept the pick instead of trading it to build around Dame. While I think that was the right move because the Blazers should be going into a rebuild, the Blazers have stayed committed to Dame and are trying to build a contender around him. However, regardless of that, if the Blazers keep Scoot, I'm not too worried about his development. I still think he's going to have a great rookie season. First of all, I wouldn't trade Scoot Henderson. He's a legit franchise player upside prospect, and those don't just grow on trees. Prospects like Scoot usually don't fall past pick 1 in most years, let alone fall all the way to pick 3 for different reasons than why he would fall past pick 1. I think he's ready to contribute at the NBA level right away, and he has the upside to be a long-term franchise player. Now, I also understand that it's not as simple as just trading Damian Lillard away to get assets in return to build around Scoot. If this was 2K, you could easily move Dame for multiple first-round picks and young players with upside. However, this isn't 2K. This is real life, and Damian Lillard has been one of the best players the Blazers have ever had, and he's more than just a great basketball player in Portland. He's become a prominent figure off the court in the city, and for about the 10,000th time, he said he wants to stay in Portland, which makes trading him kind of off the table, because Portland isn't a big free agency destination already, and if you decide to trade away the best player you've had in years, who's done what Dame has done in his NBA career while being vocal about his loyalty to the city, that sends a really bad message to agents and players about your front office. If Dame is just stubborn and stays, I can't think of a better mentor for Scoot. Lillard has a reputation as a great leader and has been notorious for taking the young guys on the team under his wing. Scoot's one real flaw on offense is his three-point shooting, which I do think is further along than people believe it is. I don't think it's a case of he's afraid to shoot. I don't think it's a case of he can't shoot. I just think he needs to work a lot on his consistency as a shooter, and there's nobody better to learn from than someone that I would argue is the second greatest shooter of all time. On top of that, he's the perfect guy to learn under in terms of being a potential offensive ensign. So if Dame stays, Scoot gets an incredible mentor. On top of that, I think Scoot would still put up really good numbers as a rookie under both scenarios where Damian Lillard stays, whether it's without roster changes or with roster changes, whether they keep the young guys like Sharp and Simons or they trade those guys. Because Scoot Henderson is a player that I feel like has an ability to adapt to situations that he has to play in really well. I think it's one of the best skills in his game. He handles change very well. He handles going from being the main guy to not being the main guy really well for somebody that's super young. And the perfect example of it is at 17 years old, he's coming off being the man in high school, graduating early, and then going to G League Ignite and playing at a really high level at 17 years old, while being the 5th option on that Ignite team as they had other priority prospects that were draft eligible ahead of him that year. If Dame is frustrated to the point he does request a trade, it honestly means more opportunity for Scoot, because it means Scoot would likely become that main option in Portland. And while having a mentor like Dame would be awesome, it's not a necessity for a prospect like Scoot. It would be something nice to have, but it isn't something that he desperately needs. Scoot is a prospect that's pretty developed already and is one of the more NBA-ready prospects in recent memory. I think he was ready to hold his own on an NBA court since he was 17 years old. That's how physically gifted and skilled he was at that age. On top of that, he gets to play with Simons, who's an incredible athlete and floor spacer, and Sharp, who's a freak athlete in his own right and growing all-around scorer. Scoot, Simons, Sharp, Triple S is a really fun young core, and I believe Scoot would be the main option off the bat, because I think of those three, he is the best creator, he has the best handle of those three, I think he's the best shot creator of those three in terms of off-bounds creation. I think he's by far the best passing playmaker of the three. Simons was really productive last season, 21.1 points a game on 44.7, 37.7, 89.4 receiving splits. But the thing is, Simons is best playing off a creator like Dame or Scoot, because he's not a great self-creator in terms of counters. Now, that's not to say he is incapable of creating his own offense, or he can't dribble, because he can dribble, he can create his own offense, but a lot of his movement and his processing as a creator feels very predetermined. He doesn't fully understand how to use counters when his first move gets shut off at times. So I think, again, while he is capable of creating, it's more ideal if he's playing off of actual great creators like Damian Lillard, who's one of the best creators in NBA history, and Scoot Henderson, who's a pretty good creator in his own right and one of the better creation prospects in recent memory. So I do think that because of the fact that he's not the greatest player in terms of counters, and he's not a big time rim pressure threat, he's just more fit to play off of a playmaker. And if Damian Lillard's gone, he's going to be playing more off his Scoot now, who's basically going to fill the shoes of Damian Lillard. I'm not saying that Simons is a bad player. He is a good player, and it's not like he's Duncan Robinson, where he's relying on the three-pointers to the point. Like, he just doesn't take twos, because he does attack the basket. He is a pretty good finisher, but he is relying on three-pointers for the most part, and he's just more fit to be a secondary scorer that relies more on off-ball scoring, that can create a little bit in spurts and can create off the opportunities created by an actual, like, legit elite playmaker. Still a really good player. I'm not trying to act like he's not, because he's a really good shooter, he's a really good athlete, he can cut, he can play off ball, he can run the floor in transition. He is a decent passer, although I don't think he's a great one. He is someone that I think has upside to be a real contributor on a contender in the future, but I don't think he's this mini Damian Lillard that some people believe he is. Now, the actual duo that I'm really excited about in the scenario that Damian Lillard does get traded is Scoot and Soap. Soap is a freak athlete in his own right. He's not quite the freak athlete that Scoot is. Scoot is stronger. I think Scoot has better burst and quickness off the bounce. He's somebody that isn't quite as twitchy as Scoot, but he is a freakish vertical athlete. He might be the best pure vertical athlete in the league. He has really good vertical range as well, and he's pretty fast in the open floor. And on top of that, he has shot creation tools and is a pretty good shooter. I think the handle needs a lot of work. That's the one area he needs to improve on a lot. And I think he would benefit off playing with a playmaker like Scoot, because, well, I do think if Soap improves the handle, which he can improve, it is something that is improvable, because there are signs there, and he's super young and has tools you just can't teach. And the on-ball potential is there with him. He would be a monster off-ball scorer. He could be a monster cutter. Somebody that would be an unreal transition lob threat. Somebody that could be just a pain to deal with trying to chase around screens, because of the speed, because of his ability to rise and fire. And I think long term, even though Simons was definitely the better player than Soap last season, I do think long term, if you're building around Scoot Henderson, Anthony Simons, and Zayden Soap, I think Soap is probably going to be that second option long term, and Simons will probably be that third option, which is a bit more fit to be. And if Scoot develops the way I think he develops, and Soap develops the way I think he can develop, we could be talking about like one of the best duos in basketball in a few years. Regardless of the situation, I think Scoot will have a successful rookie season in Portland. He's proven that he can adapt to lesser roles and still be productive. He's also just too good for me to believe that he won't prove himself as a top 2 option on that team sooner rather than later, especially with the playmaking creation advantage that he has over Simon and Sugg while being younger than both. We saw Steph Curry have a really good season next to a 25-point per game scorer in Monte Ellis. We saw Jason Tatum have a really good rookie season despite being 5th on the team in field goal attempts and also one of 6 players on that team to average between 9.5 to 11.5 field goal attempts per game behind Kyrie. I'm not saying Scoot will be as good as either of those players, but he's not the first and he won't be the last rookie to go super high in the draft that has to play with an established productive scorer. I think Scoot will still be in the running for Rookie of the Year. I still think he has a chance to be one of the best rookie point guards in recent memory. Only time will tell with all of this, obviously, but you don't bet against talent like Scoot, no matter what the situation is. But that's the end of this video. If you made it to this point, thank you so much. Again, haven't already, like, subscribe, hit notification bell, notified whenever I release a video. I make videos about basketball all the time, so if that interests you, I really think you'll enjoy this channel. And liking and subscribing, the 2 best ways can help me on the YouTube algorithm. Helps where people find my videos, so in turn, helps the channel grow so I make more content for you guys in the future. Let me know what you think about Scoot Henderson in the comment section below. Let's try to reach 100 likes on this video so YouTube will recommend it to others. But with that being said, have a nice day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.